Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome into Rover Sports. Glad to have each and every one of you guys aboard the program here. And yeah, I wanted to go ahead and talk a little bit about the Denver Broncos here to start my broadcast, and then I'm going to go ahead and give you some weekly picks. But really, a lot of Denver Bronco fans. Um, And Small Ball, how are you? Hey, Pete, how's it going, man? I've been more inspired by Pigskin Pete to just fire up these live streams, because of him. So thanks again for Pete and Small Ball. Ronaldo is a huge Jet fan. And Ned, I actually am in the middle of editing the Matt Nagy video. But first, I want to talk about a couple of topics. I think the Denver Broncos played really, really well in the last game on Monday Night Football. I thought the Broncos looked spectacular. I came away from that game. I watched Kansas City play football before, and I knew that Mahomes was really talented. I knew that Patrick and this Chiefs offense was absolutely electric. It was fantastic. Denver was up by 10 on the Chiefs, I believe 23-13 late in that game. Denver had chances to win that football game, and I came away really impressed by Denver's ability at home to play defense. If Case Keenum hits that throw to Demaryius Thomas along the left sideline, we are talking about a completely different storyline. We're talking about how Denver is a really good team. We're talking about how Denver can compete with Kansas City in the AFC West. Instead, Denver loses, and it's going to be really interesting to see how the Broncos respond versus the New York Jets. Now, with the Kansas City Chiefs, you guys bring up good options, good opinions. I want to welcome in my friend Jory Hagan into the show. My camera has been dead for a couple of days, but I have to go downstairs tonight, and he will be featured on my picks video. Also, for you guys watching this at home, a lot of you guys are dear friends of mine, and my cell phone got destroyed at a Wawa. It happened to drop and get destroyed. So if you guys want to text my phone, your numbers, it would be great. Yes, Jory Hagan is a guy that I've been doing these YouTube segments with. So I appreciate everybody coming into the show. So I think that the Denver Broncos playing the Jets, this is the classic game where the Denver Broncos are the better football team than the Jets, right? I believe that if the Rams, next week the Rams are playing in Denver, going to Denver is one of the top 3 hardest games to play at a stadium. I think going to Philly is really tough. I think going to even Seattle had a home field advantage, but their team's nowhere near the same. I think it's even tougher going to Denver than it might be even going to Kansas City, than it might be going to the LA Rams. That's how incredible that home crowd is. And it was so loud. That was such a playoff-like atmosphere. But the thing is with Denver is that most people watch that game, and I talked to some people that know a lot of football, and they're like, Denver's a much better team than the Jets. The Jets sucked in Jacksonville. The Jets sucked against the Dolphins. The Denver Broncos in that defense is for real. Why is this a pick'em game? And it's because the NFL is a weird ass sport. And because also when you have a home game in the NFL, the Jets can really play at home. It's what Todd Bowles is great at. Todd Bowles is great at going 7-9. He's gone 5-11 for 2 straight years, but this is a game Todd Bowles will play his guys and Todd Bowles will win. It's a game in the NFL that doesn't make sense. It's a game in the NFL where Case Keenum has to travel east. He sucked in Baltimore. The Broncos have been terrible away from home, and it's a game in that the New York Jets are going to win. Jamal Adams is going to play terrific football. The over-under for this game is 42 points. And I believe that it even goes under that. I think that Case Keenum performs horribly. And then you look at the Broncos, they're going to be 2-3. So, wow, it is going to be interesting stuff. So, Ronaldo, I know that we have Jets fans here The Jets are going to beat the Denver Broncos. The pass rush away from home is just not the same. That is the NFL for you. Here's another pick. Here's another pick that's going to happen. The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be back this week. They're going to kill the Atlanta Falcons this week. Everybody thinks the Steelers are dead. Steelers are not losing 2 home games. The easiest pick on the board is the Pittsburgh Steelers going to beat the Atlanta Falcons. It is really, really going to be easy. And I'll tell you what, my buddy UCF Jaguar, he might be headed out to Kansas City, so I'm going to give a shout out to him. UCF Jaguar, Kansas City, Jaguars and Chiefs. I guess I'm like the rest of everybody. I'm picking the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm picking the Chiefs in a big-time rout. The Chiefs by about 17 to 20 points. I don't think Blake Bortles can keep pace with Pat Mahomes. Mahomes and the Chiefs are feeling great. They just survived the ultimate test on Monday Night Football. You can argue that Denver took the life out of Kansas City. I don't have faith in Blake Bortles playing on the road. Let's look at who Blake has played well against. He's played well against the Jets. He looked incredible against the Jets. Blake Bortles, week 1 against the Giants was decent. Week 2 was his great performance. Now with Blake Bortles, he's throwing it to his wide receivers, a lot of crossing routes with D.D. Westbrook. D.D. Westbrook has been great for the Jaguars. Leonard Fournette has a lingering hamstring injury. I just think Kansas City's defense is getting a lot better in a hurry. So he wants me to keep doubting. If the Jags win this game, it'll be the biggest win of the NFL season. If the Jags win this game, they go to 4-1. Tennessee goes to Buffalo. Tennessee should hold serve there, but that spread's only a 4-point spread. It could be a tricky game in Buffalo. I'm confident the Titans are going to win, but that game could be really, really, really tricky. I want to welcome my friend Pigskin Pete into the show once again. The Giants are playing the Carolina Panthers. Pigskin Pete already thinks it's a win for his Carolina Panthers, I believe. I think the Giants are going to go into Carolina, and I think the Giants are going to play really, really well. They're going to play sound offense. They're going to play sound defense. I look at the NFL right now, and Eli Manning is going to play another 2 to 3 years in the NFL. It doesn't mean that he's going to be the Giants starting quarterback for 2 years, but when the Giants select Justin Herbert or Drew Lock, Eli Manning could be the Alex Smith to the Pat Mahomes-like guy that the Giants hope to acquire. I think Eli Manning's smart enough to be a backup quarterback in this league. I think that he has the emotional capacity to be relegated to that kind of role. So I think that Eli Manning is going to be a backup in the NFL, and I think he's going to be a backup next year. Maybe he'll be like Mike Glennon and start a couple of games, but that is what is probably going to happen with Eli and the Giants. But the Giants are going to go down to Carolina, and Carolina's coming off of a bye week. Cam Newton's going to be rusty. Olivier Vernon's coming back. The Giants are going to run the football. They're going to play really, really sound football. It's going to be a tough game for Carolina to blow out. So, Broadway Joe is here. Joe, I wish you lived closer so that we can do these together. Same with Jory and all of my friends right here that are logging on to the show. Matthew, it can be like, you know what it can be like? It can be like the Broncos-Giants game last year. It can absolutely be like the Giants last year. Pigskin Pete is picking a very close score, 31 to 24. He's giving the Giants 24 points. If you give the Giants 24 points, I would be just ecstatic. I would take that in a heartbeat. I would take that in a New York minute. I would take 24 points. That the Giants scoring 24 points is like the Giants scoring 24 points is like another team scoring 50. All right. That if the Giants score above 17 points, I am really surprised. Of course, Olivier Vernon is out this Sunday. He's out for the entire season. I'm going to stop even mentioning his name because he doesn't ever play. And, of course, the doorbell is ringing. Who the heck knows who it is? Maybe it's someone dropping off a package, or maybe it's someone of my family that needs to get let into the house. But when you go live, again, it's a lot harder because when you go live, if this was a pre-recorded video, I would pause it, I would delete it, I would do all this types of shit. But anyhow, hopefully it's a package. If not, we will see what happens. Terrence McCabe. Oh my gosh, that could be my good old buddy, Terrence McCabe. He is a big-time Eagles fan. And I think the Eagles are going to get back on track this week. I was debating with a lot of people. The Eagles are going to absolutely kill the Minnesota Vikings. The priority of the live stream. Amen to that. But the Eagles playing the Vikings this week, the Eagles are going to roll. A lot of people saying the Eagles have a Super Bowl hangover. That's not true at all. In 2 of their losses, they lost to Fitzmagic when Fitzmagic was still a thing. Who gives a shit about week 2? Nobody. You don't learn anything in week 2 of the season. It's way too early. The Eagles played an elite Titans team. A Titans team that I have winning the AFC South, okay? A great defensive team, a team with a really good offensive coordinator, a receiving core with Tywan Taylor that is really hard to guard. Corey Davis is a guy that's a really good possession receiver. The Tennessee Titans lost Delaney Walker. They still have Derrick Henry. They are a really good football team with Mike Vrabel. And the Tennessee Titans went out there in that game, and the Eagles didn't lose that game. The Titans flat out won it. The Eagles are going to roll the Minnesota Vikings. Kirk Cousins has no pocket presence whatsoever. He needs a lot of time to deliver the football. He has been getting rated very highly by people. He is a good quarterback. The NFL is a very competitive quarterback business. His offensive line, Riley Reif, is terrible. This offensive line is not very good. The Eagles at home, their pass rush gets amplified when you play at the Link. I sent an absolute bludgeoning this week. That's one of my locks of the week. I can't believe that's a 3-point spread. If the Vikings win that game, that would stun me to the high heavens. I will address the Ravens, Troy. So the Ravens go to Cleveland. I think Cleveland's actually a really good team. I look at Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is a fantasy darling. I'm sure a lot of you guys have Nick Chubb playing in your fantasy leagues. Nick Chubb was a guy that went off against the Oakland Raiders last week. He looked tremendous. I think he's going to be like a Doug Martin in the NFL, where the first couple of years he sets the NFL on fire. So I think Nick Chubb is dangerous. I think Baker, Callaway, T. Higgins, and Njoku, it's a dangerous offense. And the Ravens are playing some of the best football that they've played in 5 years. That win against Pittsburgh was so mentally tough for the Ravens to come back and win. Joe Flacco has bounced back really well. They're using Lamar Jackson like Taysom Hill. I am going to go with the Browns, but I can see both teams winning. I think that the AFC North is actually much better. The Bengals got a huge win. The Bengals are going to play great versus the Dolphins. They're going to kill the Dolphins this week. So the Ravens are a really fascinating team. I know Jimmy Smith from Colorado is coming back this week too, so that's going to be absolutely fantastic. So that's one of my favorite games is Ravens and the Browns. Ben Allen wants to talk about the 49ers. I picked the Kansas City Chiefs to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars this week and by a pretty substantial margin. No. That's when it all ends. Chucky goes to LA. Chucky goes to the soccer stadium of Raiders fans, and Chucky ends up beating the Chargers outright this week. The Raiders can make the playoffs this year. They go to London for a weird Seattle game. They have easy home games coming up at where do they play? They play, it's not at the Coliseum. They play the Oakland, oh my gosh. I think it is the Oakland Coliseum. It is. It's the Oakland Coliseum. I got that right. I believe the Raiders can still make the playoffs. John Gruden is doing a great job. Everybody hates on Chucky for the trade of Khalil Mack when really Khalil Mack wanted too much money and the Raiders were an absolute train wreck. So all you Chucky haters, there you go. I want to talk a little bit now. I want to go into a little segment as you guys can type out this question. It might not be 4-12, Dalton. It might be 7-9, but you're right. Now, what I want to go ahead and talk about is the Chicago Bears, and they were my feature story this week. I have to go ahead and do a Trubisky film review. The thing that's so fascinating about the Chicago Bears is that the Chicago Bears have a quarterback coach. They have a coach. His name is Mark Helfrich. And Mark Helfrich is exactly like Tom Crean of Indiana. Mark Helfrich is a guy that had Marcus Mariota, one of the best college players to ever live in Hawaii, in the North America, anywhere. He is a trilogy. Him, Mackenzie Milton, and Tua Tagovailoa, as well as Talia Tagovailoa. They are the 4 trilogy quarterbacks. You can even put Te'amo in that list. He went up to Oregon, and when he was at Oregon, Mark Helfrich started to suck when Chip Kelly left. His recruiting wasn't very good. It wasn't his style of program. He didn't play any defense. He was complacent when he was at Oregon. He did make a national championship game, defeating Florida State at the Rose Bowl. But Mark Helfrich is a guy that's intelligent. He understands personality. He is a guy that can relate to players, and players still love Helfrich, even though his record at Oregon was shitty. Helfrich goes to the Chicago Bears. Suddenly, the Bears are running a college system of offense. They're running crazy shit up in Chicago. They have Chase Daniel standing next to Trubisky, and they're running fake tosses to Jordan Howard and giving the ball to Tariq Cohen. Matt Nagy and Helfrich are two of the smartest coaches in the NFL, but they're also 2 of the best people in the NFL. John Fox struck me as a guy that didn't get along with his players. That was a complete jerk to his players, okay? He didn't care about his players' well-being. Well, Matt Nagy cares a ton about the players' well-being. He lets the players play. His scheme is innovative. His scheme is completely from the college rank. And that is why the Chicago Bears are badass mofos this season, okay? The Chicago Bears are absolutely... the Chicago Bears are a really good team. The Packers are going to be the team that has to catch them. The Vikings' schedule is too hard. The offensive line is too bad. Everson Griffin right now is unfortunately not at full strength right now. So the Packers can still beat the Bears. The Bears have had an easy schedule, and boy, have they taken advantage of how the NFL has laid out their schedule. Nagy is really doing well. He is very underrated, and he likes to be underrated. So, yes, Ned Music, yes. The point that's amazing is that they really tailor their offense to the player's strengths. And the thing about the Chicago Bears is that their offensive line is ridiculous. And the thing now with the NFL that's so freaking a little frustrating is that the NFL is a little bit like the Big 12. You don't know everything. Oh my gosh. You don't know who is a shitty quarterback in the NFL and who's a really good quarterback. The lines are so blurred right now. Andy Dalton's looking like a good quarterback, okay? Matt Ryan's playing well. In spots, Fitzpatrick has played well. What quarterbacks have really shat the bed? What quarterbacks are bad? Is Matt Stafford playing bad? Is Kirk Cousins playing poorly? I mean, look at the NFL right now and look at Richard Sherman's comments. Which quarterbacks are just going out there every week and performing horribly other than maybe Josh Allen and Sam Darnold that are rookies? So there's no free spots in the NFL anymore. Like Mitchell Trubisky can throw 6 touchdowns. Mahomes can play in his first year and look incredible. Blake Bortles can barely miss a throw. Jared Goff is the second coming of football Jesus. He is like clipboard Jesus, just throwing the football. He can't miss a throw. He looks like he's playing a cow. So I wanted to do this video with a couple of subscribers talking about NFL quarterbacks and who's overrated and underrated. And right now, the NFL is so damn easy for offenses. It's almost too damn easy. It's ridiculous. I kind of want to see the NFL become a little bit of a tougher game to play the position at, because then we can decipher who is elite. And you know what's going to decipher who's elite? Who wins, who plays well on the big stage. Case Keenum had a good year last year. He sucked on the big stage against the Eagles, okay? There are certain quarterbacks that under the big moments, they have come up small. Drew Brees was the opposite. He played great in the playoffs. Cam Newton really played well in that playoff game last year. I'm going to go ahead and answer some of the questions. Mackenzie Milton was a running back for Tua. That was amazing. That was in Pop Warner football. They played each other in high school, and Mackenzie Milton beat Tua's team 65-59. It was absolutely amazing. Marcus Mariota is a better golfer than he is a surfer. That is absolutely right. Oh, thank you to a fan on here that said he is a Giant subscriber. Thank you for that comment. Yes, the Giants, I might have to live stream that game. I might have to stay here and do that, figure out a way to get this monitor rolling, because Bad Dog's live streaming, Cop Pizzle's live streaming, my guy Entertainer is live streaming, UCF Pigskin Pete. It's time to do live streams. I mean, live streaming, all successful channels are doing live streams. It's fun to do live streams. Terrence asked a really good question. What about Dak Prescott? Strawberry Daiquiri Prescott. I look at Dak Prescott, and that's a good example of a quarterback that is not playing all that well. He had the game-saving, maybe the career-saving throw to Ezekiel Elliott. He is struggling a lot. When you look at Dak, he's a quarterback that is the product of the system. So there's some guys that I look at, and from a physical talent, they are so talented. And that's Cam Newton. Deshaun Watson is a physically talented. Mahomes, Carson Wentz. Garoppolo actually is physically talented in the way that he can throw the ball quickly and under duress. But then there's some guys that, you look at the offense, the scheme. I look at Trubisky. I actually think Trubisky might even be more talented than Jared Goff. I mean, right now, Jared Goff is the MVP of football. I've been a guy that said that Luis Perez should start over Jared Goff. And Jared Goff's been very, very accurate. His offensive line's been perfect. He's been really, really good. We'll never know the other side of an argument. I can't say Jared Goff sucks. I cannot say that. I cannot say that Jared Goff's only doing well because of Sean McVay, because you know what that means? It means Jared Goff could never beat me in that argument. Right now, Jared Goff is beating me in the argument. I said Jimmy Garoppolo is here. Jared Goff is at a Prescott level. I said Goff would be out of the league in like 5 to 6 years, that he would be bad. And I was wrong on that for real. No, the Jets should not be 4-0 at all. The Dolphins beat them handily. The Jaguars beat them handily. Who was week 3 for the New York Jets? Baker Mayfield. Second half, you got Tyrod Taylor playing tentative ball. You have to win that game. I'm sorry, but that's not the team that could be 4-0. A team that can be 4-0 are maybe Atlanta. I think Atlantaans have a better point than that one. So, and that's interesting. I believe, Anthony, that this week, if Dak can beat Deshaun Watson head-to-head, then I have to look at the Cowboys as a contender. It's a tough game for Dallas. It's a similar game. The Dallas Cowboys are playing a similar game to Notre Dame this weekend. The Houston Texans were a team that everybody counted out after the Giants beat them in week 3. They're like, this team is a hot pile of garbage. And the Houston Texans have Deshaun Watson. The Houston Texans got a big win in Indianapolis. Frank Reich gifted them the game. Deshaun's playing at a high level. The Texans are feeling great about themselves. The Texans are going to rock the Cowboys. I think that the Texans win comfortably. I have no faith in Dallas going on the road. No way, no way, no way. Hot takes only. I think Notre Dame can also lose for all you college football fans. I think going to Blacksburg is ridiculously hard. I think Justin Fuente is as good as it gets. I think Bud Foster has proven over time he's as good as it gets. Lane Stadium is crazy. Ryan Willis played at Kansas, and Ryan Willis might just be just as good as that Jackson kid ever was. It's a scary game for the Fighting Irish in college football. That game's going to be terrific. Nebraska, Wisconsin will be terrific. Florida, LSU. I think Florida's going to beat LSU outright. LSU, Joe Burrow on the road. When is the shoe going to drop? We will find out. Great question. Will Sam Darnold ever throw the ball deep? And I'm going to do about 5 more minutes. Will Darnold throw the ball deep? This week, it is against the Denver Broncos. He is going to be forced to throw the ball deep. He threw only 1 ball deep. Look at Sam Darnold, and unfortunately, I think Mitchell Trubisky is even more talented than Sam Darnold. I don't get the love affair with Sam Darnold that he's going to be this special player. He's not that mobile. He's all right at extending plays. But I haven't seen that deep ball out of him in quite some time, ever since his college days. Dak Prescott slower than Marcus. His reaction time is a lot worse. Marcus throws like Carson Palmer. Dak Prescott throws like Jake Plummer. Dak Prescott is not a natural thrower. Mariota throws it seamlessly. The air throw to Davis puts good touch on the ball and can get through reads a lot faster. I don't know, Ben, if the Cardinals or the Niners are going to win. I think the Niners are going to win. I was laughing because, Anthony asked, do you think that Eli Manning will ever throw the ball deep in his life? And frankly, I don't know if it's ever going to come. I mean, did he hit 1 deep ball? Maybe in the Jacksonville game he did. If he can throw the ball 40 yards in the air, I would be absolutely stunned. And even guys that are 18 to 27 years old can throw the ball as far as Eli right now. Great question. Josh Rosen made some really good throws. I think Seattle, like in their highlights, they look decent. This will be an interesting Rams game. Seattle hosting the Rams. I look at Josh Rosen, and my concern about Josh Rosen is that offensive line, because he is not very quick getting set back to throw. He is robotic in that he needs the play to be absolutely perfect. He's not a great improviser at all. He's one of the worst improvisers in the NFL, meaning that when things are going on around him in the pocket, he's not going to be able to ever get out of the pocket. He's going to have to stand in there and take shots, a little bit like Andrew Luck, but he just has no mobility at all. He's injury prone. But when Josh Rosen is on schedule, there's nobody better at throwing the football. This guy is a natural thrower of the ball. He is better than Sam Darnold. He likely will be better than Josh Allen. I think it's him in Baker's draft class. I think Josh Rosen has looked very good so far. Yeah, Sam has pocket mobility, but can he throw the ball deep? How long do the Broncos wait? Great question. I will probably end it with this question again. Thank you guys for coming in and joining me. I might even unleash just a video for team-specific reasons right now after this, this live stream. I think that the Denver Broncos, I believe that the Denver Broncos will not go with Swag Kelly for a really long time. I watched Vance Joseph's press conference. I kind of like Case Keenum in Denver. I think that he deserves the right to stick out this year. I think Bill Musgrave is calling good calls for Case. He's being aggressive. This is a huge game for Case Keenum, this game and the Rams game. If they lose both of them, that would make the Broncos 1-4, which would put it at a scary, scary time. If they're ever eliminated late in the season and he's really, really struggling, they're going to look for Case Keenum. The interesting news, they're going to look for Kelly. The interesting news about Denver is that the Denver Broncos, there's not a lot of teams in the NFL that are going to be looking for quarterbacks. So if Denver wants to go and sliver up to the top 10, they can do that. I saw a mock draft at number 9 where the Giants were able to get Drew Lock, because look at these teams that look at the NFL and look at the quarterbacks right now. Denver might be able to get Justin Herbert or Drew Lock. The Giants might be able to do the exact same thing. Look at the NFL. Maybe Alex Smith will start to regress. Maybe Andy Dalton will start to regress. Maybe Flacco will. Maybe somebody will really come down and perform poorly. Maybe Big Ben will call it quits. So you never know what's going to happen, but the Bills have a quarterback. The Cardinals have rookie. The Jets are probably not going to, give up on Darnold. Bears have Trubisky. I mean, Cam Newton, Russell Wilson, Garoppolo. Quarterbacks are filled in the NFL. So I think Chad Kelly's an exciting player as well. I don't think Keenum is doing awful. I think Keenum's doing okay. But if he beats the Jets, that would be a huge step for him. These are two incredible chances for Case Keenum. If Case can put up any offense versus the Jets, if they can win this Jets game, then the Broncos are for real. I think this week for the Denver Broncos is their playoff berth. That if they beat the Jets, they're in the playoffs. If they lose this game to the Jets, it's doubtful that they'll make the playoffs. That's how big this game is. And for Vance Joseph, I think he's been coaching well this season. Everybody hates Vance Joseph. And for Vance, he needs to prove to people that he belongs. King Braz, we can only hope that Davis Webb gets another opportunity. And King Braz, I've seen this story too many times with the Niners. This is a must-win game for C.J. Beathard this week. Must-win game for the Niners this week. Hope you guys have a great time. I'll probably be with you guys maybe Sunday, maybe tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. Take care. Appreciate you guys stopping by.